day! We just got this transmission delivered by the transmission builder. It's ready to go. It's clean, it's shiny, it's painted. I guess there's nothing left to do but go ahead and yeet this thing right there into the Subaru. Go! Plan B! Plan B! Hold on! Okay. Okay, she's gonna live up in here for a good long time, hopefully. Got a brand new clutch in there installed. If you watch my shorts, you've seen some of that. Still got that strap, probably gonna get rid of that. All right, let's set you up just over here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm just gonna lift this transmission up and push it in. I gotta get it up over those axles. All right, I think I can just get, yep, there we go. Got the axle on the other side of the bell housing. I can just kind of pull it forward, bring you around this side. Let me show you what it looks like from my perspective. There you go. Both axles are underneath the gearbox, and the bell housing is just about lined up. All right, we're hung on at least one of those studs. That's good. We got her. All we gotta do is push that thing in here. Let me move you out of the way, and we'll get this thing slid in. Okay, that was successful. I've got the nut that goes onto that stud. Let me show you here. There's the one that's way in here. You can get in from the wheel well. See that little guy there? And just reach right in there. So just run that in hand tight. That's gonna keep the transmission from just sliding right off. So I can get rid of the table, the transmission jack. And by the way, if you have a transmission jack, that is way, way easier than trying to do it with a table or like a floor jack or something, because you can angle the transmission where you want. All right, when I was underneath the car, I ran in all the bolts down there. Now I've got the clutch slave cylinder and the starter to do up here. It's probably a good idea to grab that release fork for your clutch. Give it a wiggle. Make sure it feels right. If there's no play at all in it, that's not good. Or if it's just slumped down, or you know, whatever, something may have happened when you were putting in the transmission. Check that now, because it's just gonna get harder to fix that problem the further you move along here. So torque that down to factory specs. Now for the starter. Remember, there's two different length starter bolts. There's a long one and a short one. Long one goes up top. Okay, I've got the bracket here on the bottom of the transmission. So let me go ahead and put this on it. We're gonna need a couple of nuts. Okay. Can we get that in there? Oh my goodness. We're gonna have to move it. What are we doing? Nope, we got it. We got her, come on. Hey, only gotta loosen them a little bit. Let me go ahead and pull that. Oh, you know what? I remember there was an order when we took this apart also. I think we gotta get this shift linkage installed first, and then we can put that little stabilizer bracket on the bottom there. I remember it being in the way when we tried to get that linkage off. There, oh, I felt it, went in there. I'm putting the nut on top, because I don't remember which side it was on. Been too long. All right, that looks like a 10 millimeter. Let me grab those. All right. Best part about this lift, two huge shelves. I can just put stuff all over the place. I don't have to put it on the floor. I like that. All right, let me get this little back end here, stuck into the rubber. Come on, little guy. Almost. Come on. Almost got her. There we go. All right. been seeing me use the old grandpa glasses here from time to time. What in the world? It's only 13 on this car. Nice. Be right back. As I was saying, see me use these grandpa glasses every now and again. And they're just readers, but man, getting a little bit older, I need these things for a lot more than I used to. Especially looking at the sizes of these nuts. Alright, that looks pretty good. Okay, I have the gear oil for this thing. We're not putting it in yet, but we're gonna lube up the drive shaft, the slip yoke, and the seal up here with some gear oil. That's why I got my gloves on now. Just gonna touch it up here. Don't go crazy. I want it not wet, but a little less than dry, if that makes any sense. And then the slip yoke here, just gonna run some lube on it. You don't want it dripping wet. You just don't want it to go in dry, you know what I'm saying? That stuff smells wonderful. Not really. So I'm gonna get it out of here. Okay, now with your shaft all lubed up, you're ready to go ahead and shove her in there. I've got the bolts for that center carrier bearing there. So let me go ahead and line this up with those gear teeth on the output shaft. There it is, and then just slide it in nice and easy. Bolts for it here. Go ahead and put that right there. Just slide it out as needed. If I had a drive shaft jack, I'd be using it right now. But I'm missing some tools that eventually I'll be using. Okay, I'm just gonna carefully let that hang for just a second. It's being held in by the force. Because today's May the 4th, so May the 4th be with you. I'm gonna grab those nuts and bolts so I can hold that on there. I'm not sure how long the force is gonna last. So if you don't believe me, here we go. That's what that looks like there. It's being held up there by the force. I think we got Yoda in the house today. Yoda's my homie today. He's not gonna let me down. Look at that. Oh, car's in gear. I don't know, whatever. There. That's what it looks like. It's just got part of it cut out. So that way, thank you Subaru, you don't need a wrench up there. It just holds it right on the yoke. I'm gonna torque up the bearing, torque up these guys on the drive shaft. All right, drive shaft, check. Heat shield, check. CV axles. Okay, if you still have your gear oil handy and your rubber gloves on, give these axles just a whisper of gear oil, because we've got new seals on the input shaft, or on the output for the front axles here. And I don't want to tear up the new seals, so we're just gonna whisper oil. Just a bit. Around, this is the sealing surface here, here at the end. So make sure that's good. And the rest of it, we're just gonna kind of lube it up. Make it nice and clean. Make sure the rings, these hog rings, are installed where they need to be, in the groove. Gotta get groovy. Okay. can wipe off my mitts here, and we'll get these things pushed in. If you remember from the transmission removal video, we took off the ball joints. They're just kind of hanging there. So I'm gonna move the knuckle. That'll give me enough room to push this thing in. And just kind of pull it out here. It's gonna be at the max travel, but don't touch that seal. You want to work this in there nice and easy, because that seal, you want that to seal. That looks pretty good. Now the teeth are meshed, so that's good. All right. There you go. That's what it should sound like. It should be locked in that way. I'm gonna pull this ball joint castle nut off. See if I can muster up enough strength to pull this control arm down and get that ball joint pushed in. Oh yeah. There you go. Castle nut in. Okay. Just want to get it in there, mesh the gears. Yeah, feels pretty good. There we go. No hammer necessary. I heard it snap. It's locked in there. That's what it should look like. All right, ball joint on this side. We're gonna get this thing buttoned up. Also, if you can see it, I'm gonna put in the stabilizer length. That's just one bolt. Don't forget the cotter pins. No matter how many people tell you that there's only one correct way to install a cotter pin, other people are gonna tell you that that guy is wrong. So, do what you gotta do. Take your cotter pin, bend it around, cut it a little shorter, get rid of that, hammer it up, and just cut off the tag end. Perfect cotter pin. All right, we got the car back on the ground. We've got a few things left to do before we button it up, including gear oil. That's the fill tube for it. The dipstick's out of it, so let's go ahead and put a funnel in there and get some gear oil. This transmission's gonna take roughly 4 quarts, so I'll go ahead and put maybe 3.5 in there, then I'll check it with the dipstick. Oh, you know what? Before I go too far, I've got these 2 connectors in here. They've just been sitting here. I don't want to forget them. That's the speed sensor and the oxygen sensor. Let me get those plugged in. Okay, those are good. And then also remember, you've got a starter ground up here. I forgot that originally. It goes into the top starter bolt. Car won't start if you don't have that. I'm using the Subaru stuff, 7590. You could probably use whatever gear oil you like. Doesn't have to be from Subaru, but that's where I was when I bought the clutch and the flywheel. All right, so it took exactly 3.5 quarts. That's what we're left with from the 4th quart jug. I've got the dipstick back in there, and for those of you keeping track, I did fix this transmission radio ground. It goes all the way down there to that other side, so that's fixed. All right, car's on the floor. The only thing left in our parts pile is just the intercooler and that dog bone. The dog bone is gonna go back here to stabilize the engine. Intercooler on top. Let's get these things on here and we'll give you the first start. This is where that special tool goes. If you buy one, it'll actually angle the engine where you want it. We used a strap, remember that? I'm gonna use just a little bit of silicone spray just on these plastic pipe pieces so I can get the hose on there a little bit easier. if I can slip this thing in there without any casualties. You hear the bodywork moving, it is. There are tons of broken pieces, broken plastic under there. I didn't break it. Probably had maybe a fender bender or a blowed out tire or something happened. Almost there. This is going on to some more of that aftermarket stuff, that Mishimoto go fast stuff. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with. I don't know what the OEM Subaru looks like because this is the only one I'm working on. So hopefully yours goes a little bit more slowly. It looks like it's on there. Just a little bit of pressure, not a lot. Just don't want the air to leak. And we got this little hose here. We want that to go on the pipe. We need a clamp. That looks good. Connect. Oh boy. This thing is falling apart. Got some hot old plastic up in there. Let me see if I can convince this hose to go up there, and then I can clamp it back down. There we go. That's looking pretty sweet. Now I've got this bracket. That just a little loose so I can get pipe on the other side. Get these holes to line up. Starting to get kind of excited. We're almost there. I can feel it. Let's get an extension on here. Make sure you set your ratchet to exactly 3 ugga-duggas. There you go. Now, before we can first start, we gotta hook up the battery. Took the positive off too because I pulled the battery out for. Why did I pull it out? Oh, I was working down here on something else on that power steering. So power steering rack is in, battery's back in. Safety cover, check. Ground. Hopefully we're not going to get any sparks. That would be good. One little tiny spark. No smoke. He's got the wing nuts for improved track performance. Alright, let's get this thing a first start. Just watch it for me, see if anything blows up. Let me know. Alright, gears feel good. Give it a turn. Alright, I'm pretty impressed. I like that. It took a while to start probably because the fuel pressure had drained out of it, so just got to build that up. Other than that, we're pretty good. I've got a couple other things to wrap up with this car, so I'll do that off camera. Then I'm going to take it on a test drive. Make sure this has got a brand new clutch, so we have to bed that thing in, so I'm going to follow the procedures for that. It's a lot of complicated stuff here. I've spent hours on this car, so the high five, air five. If you haven't seen the transmission removal video, you can click that link right here. That'll take you from where I started, show you the bits and pieces that came out of the transmission when I drained it. So that's good to know. And right up here is a link for wrencher.com. Wrencher.com is where you can get the tools out of my tool store. It's everything that I use and recommend to have in your toolbox. So check that out. You can click that link, go to wrencher.com. No ease. Vanna, I couldn't afford ease. I'm sorry. I think that's all I've got to say other than thanks for watching.